if you get too much vitamin D, it did something to deactivate the woman's ability to reproduce.
Really?
Yes.
I learned something today.
That's 99%. From my understanding, that's almost the entire reason.
Well, that makes sense.
So if you, and it's interesting because if you notice, it's normally warmer climates, but the Eskimos have darker skin because even though it's colder there, they get a whole lot of sunlight
because of the reflection. From
yes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the entire. Also, there are white people who get sickle cell anemia.
It's rare, but you're right.
It's rare.
I knew. It's
one. Not it's based off of, are you in a climate where you have malaria? They always said, oh, it's a black disease. No, it's not a black disease. There's just a lot of Africans who are in that malaria plane.
Okay.
Also Middle Easterners and some white folks.
Mm-hmm.
But the point is that I wasn't questioning the existence of race. They threatened, basically, they told me, if you keep writing stuff like this, you're going to find going to school here very unpleasant. These are the adults said this to me.
Really?
The reason,
where was this?
U-City. U-City was a corrupt, I'm saying this, U-City in the 80s was a corrupt, borderline criminal situation. I'm not saying they're the only school.
Well, and you said your mother taught there.
Yes.
So she probably knew too.
Basically what they would say is they would get in my face and say, they basically would say it's going to be a problem for her. I probably shouldn't have gone there. You know what I'm saying? But this is the kind of game that they play. They play with a lot of black kids who are smart. If there's a parent that works there or whatever, they would be like, and a lot of the black people right on it too. It was just, oh, well, you can't do anything about this because if you get into a problem, it's going to affect her job. So there's this desire amongst the white progressive idealists. I'm not saying everyone is a progressive is a racist. This is a term that I've generated. But there's a white progressive ideal. I do think the white progressive ideal is racist. And the white progressive ideal is this paternalistic notion that black people are perpetually victims of you as a white man. And then white women figure in, it depends on what day of the week. On Tuesday, I'm a bad guy because I'm a male and straight. So they can slam on me for being a male, questioning a white woman. On Wednesday, all white people are bad. On Thursday, all cis people are bad. You know, it's this system to where everyone gets a turn being the villain. And who's in control? The people making the rules.
And that's again, it goes back to this whole tribal thing.
Yes, it's very tribal.
Where you almost have to create a boogeyman.
That's exactly what the white progressive ideal is about. It says the white man, the white capitalist man. Mm-hmm. And this is why the Democratic Party. Can you name one white male Democrat in the House of Representatives that you consider to be a formidable force politically in terms of electoral, like a guy who might be able to be a president? Just the House of Democrats, House of Representatives.
Not senators. Yeah,
start with the House of Representatives. Start with the Democrat. Start with the House of Representatives.
No, I can't.
Exactly. Why is that? Because it's not allowed.
I can't tell you.
It's not allowed.
Now senators, I can name some.
Okay, but what about the Democrat in the Democratic Party?
Chuck Schumer.
You think Chuck Schumer is a force?
I think
electoral, like running for president.
Well,
as a candidate,
are you talking about an individual who would stand up, make policy, change history?
No. I'm talking about a guy who. I'm talking a lot more dynamic. I'm talking about like as a candidate, as a guy like, oh, this guy could win the presidency.
Oh, okay. Chuck Schumer could win the presidency. Joe Biden could win the presidency. I'm not.
Well,
sure
Joe Biden's not. Well, no, Joe Biden's not in the Senate now.
Yeah, but what I mean is, there's a good chance he's going to win the presidency.
Oh, I think there's a good chance.
And I also think there's a good chance he's not sure that this is Thursday. Okay,
but Biden is that's part of the thing, though. Why does Biden have a chance? Biden was
because he's been crowned king by the party. He is the representative of the party.
But why was he crowned king? Because he was Obama's right-hand man. They would have never crowned him if he wasn't vice president.
Oh, I agree.
No way.
But that's a smart thing. They're trying to.
It is smart.
They're capitalizing on 8 years of Obama.
But he's not
if you liked Obama,
right,
okay,
right.
Remember, he's not coming back, but we got Joe.
But it's more. I mean, let's be honest. It's more about Obama. I'm talking about just organically. The Democrats. There is not a single white male Democrat that is a force in the House of Representatives.
Okay, well, I'm going to turn that around on you. Name the Republican.
The Republican.
Yeah, who fits that same criteria? There's none. There's none.
The Republicans are in a serious issue.
4 years ago, I watched the first presidential debate, and then I watched the second just to see if what I saw the first time was a fluke or whatever. When Donald Trump, when a reality TV show host made Jeb Bush, who was the ordained candidate, almost cry when he called him names on national television, I thought, these people are done. There was no Republican that could stand up to John Trump. Not one. And it was so bad that they thought, shit, this guy's going to win. Okay, well, we hate him, but I guess we'll support him because that's the best we got. That's sad. That's sad. If Trump is so horrible, why didn't the Republicans just throw somebody else out there just to get rid of him and win the election? Because they didn't have anybody.
No,
the Republicans are in the same boat as the Democrats. Same boat. They're
not exactly in the same boat.
They're not. There's not
exactly in the same boat because the Democrats have a very, very concise, clear rule. And I'll just be honest with you. You see it now. Mm-hmm. You cannot present strength as a white man. And I know this sounds crazy hearing from a black person, but I think this is part of the problem of why so many black men I'm seeing are starting to go, wait a minute, what are you guys doing? The problem with the Republicans, and I do think they have a serious problem too, because they don't have strong candidates. But it's not because of that axiom. It's because of the fact that whole party has bowed to Donald Trump. The reason why they have that problem, and the problems are connected. They are very connected. The reason why the Republicans don't have anyone is because Donald Trump just smashed them.
He did. A guy who's never ran for office before and was a reality TV show host. Joe Rogan says Donald Trump has the same MO as a stand-up comic.
That's what he is.
He works the room. He gets you on his side. He gets you worked up. And you can't help but to say, yeah, I want more of this.
I watched him on that Saturday rally in Tulsa.
Yeah. I saw that you had watched that.
Dude, I haven't laughed that hard since Chappelle. I fell off the bed. And I didn't know why it was funny. And he's like telling the story, and I'm laughing. I go, wait a minute, that's the president. And I was like, man, that's not cool. That's not cool, Trump, man. Be a and I started laughing again. But that's why he won.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'll say this. I don't think he's done a terrible job. I think there's some things like, dude, stop asking other countries for help. Please just chill out with that. But there's other stuff that he's done. And I'm like, I honestly don't think the opportunity zones are half bad. I mean, they're not the end all. But the difference between that and they're better than the tax credits.
Sure.
Absolutely better than the tax credits.
Dealing with China. Nobody's ever stood up to China.
China sucks. I'm sorry.
They do.
Man.
They're awful. They're terrible.
And at first I'm like, oh, man, come on, man. Don't. He did it, and we're not doomed.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And they did screw us, and then they.
And the whole redoing of NAFTA. That is fantastic for us, and it's even better for the Mexicans.
Right.
The biggest problem with NAFTA, from a Mexico standpoint, is when something comes up from Mexico, it's tariff-free, duty-free, okay? Cars especially.
Right, cars,
But some of these cars that were coming over the border had 35% Chinese content in them.
Yep.
They said, that's it, you can't do that anymore.
Right.
They've got to be North American content.
Right.
Now, if they're putting together a car in San Luis Rey, Mexico, they're not going to import the parts from Mississauga, Ontario. They're going to make them right there. Okay, that's number one. So that's going to be more jobs for the Mexican people. Number two, you can't pay them dirt wages. You got to treat them right, too. So their wages are going to go up. So wait a minute. More Mexican jobs, and you got to pay them a better living wage. Okay? How is that bad? I think it's fantastic.
Well, and
so from a trade standpoint, from an economy standpoint, and you're right. You can't say, I heard Rush say, this country was in the shithole. I mean, he didn't say that, but it was awful. The day Trump took over, everything changed. Look,
that's not true.
It was on its way up when Obama was president too.
Right.
Now you can use the argument that after he became president, it couldn't go anywhere but up, but it did, and you have to give credit where credit is due. It was on its way up. Now, did Trump accelerate it? Did he pick up on the trend and improve it? Sure. The trend was already there. Nobody does everything themselves in this country.
No,
and they piggyback off the last guy. They all do.
And the thing about the Trump thing that is, I believe what's happened is Trump, because he doesn't get beat. People are like, oh my God, he keeps getting away with it. No, that's the way the Constitution is designed. Unless he does something really, really bad, you're not supposed to be impeached.
Right.
I mean, the Ukraine thing was a screw up, but you're not supposed to be impeached over that.
No.
So
that was a witch hunt from day one.
And what he did cool? No, it's not cool.
No.
But it's not. You don't change presidents over that.
No, you don't.
And so what's happened to them is that the what you call the leftists, and what I call the white, the white 10% of the liberal or the Democratic faction, because that's something else people don't realize. The most liberal quarter of the party is almost as white as the Republican Party is. A lot of people don't realize that. They look at all the black people voting Democrats. Black people are mostly voting for moderate Democrats. Or if they're liberal Democrats, they're not like communists. But this 10%, it's not just young people. It's white people from the East Coast, like Elizabeth Warren, who I kind of supported for a minute just because I thought she's smart. She's terrible. Forget her. Bernie Sanders is a different story. I won't get into that. But what I'm saying is it's not young people. It's white ex-Columbia, whatever. It's these white liberals from the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s who are programming through the universities, who are programming through the newspapers this ideology.
Well, and I think you're right, but this whole tribalism thing again, it's become very political because, again, once upon a time the Democrats were one thing, the Republicans were another, and sure they Scoop Jackson would have made a good Republican,
right?
Okay, in the day
he would have had to be a Republican today.
He would have had to have been, yes, exactly. But the whole tribalism thing, once upon a time, everybody in business supported the Republicans.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Look at all the power brokers today. Academia. The media.
Right.
Hollywood's
a big one.
Silicon Valley.
Yep.
They're all Democratic supporters. And this started with Bill Clinton, I believe. Okay. And Bill Clinton, it started with Reagan, where if you don't like a guy, it's obviously because you're stupid. Well, people on the right said, well, Clinton's just a dumb Arkansas hillbilly. He's a moron. No, he was a Rhodes Scholar. He's a very smart man.
Right.
And he said, you know what? What if we started to court big business?
Yeah. And
they did. And it's worked. And the Democrats outraised the Republicans.
But because
in money, but they run business now, and
yes.
And there's nobody who's looking out for the middle class guy.
Nobody,
there is nobody left.
And if you're not picking one of those teams, you're sort of out on a limb.
Yeah,
because that part now it's really weird because Democrats are a big business party, but then you have this part of the leftmost part of the Democratic Party says they hate that. They hate the quote corporate neocon, blah, 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 whatever.
They're part of it.
Yeah, but exactly. And that's the same thing I felt like I think on the other hand, talking a little bit about on the right with tribalism, I think a turning point for me was Jim DeMint. Jim DeMint was an interesting guy because
he resigned or was kicked out.
No,
what's his story?
So his story was, and we'll backtrack from there real quick.
That was a long time.
It was a long time ago. So in 2000, God, was it 2012 or something? It was. Yeah, it was like 2012. He said, "I think this is my last term."
Mm.